In a world filled with screens and distractions, we invite you to reconnect with the natural world around you. Welcome to Nature Bound, a podcast dedicated to unpacking the intrinsic bond between humans and nature. We'll uncover the benefits of spending time outdoors, including how a nature-centric lifestyle can improve your mental health, elevate your leadership skills, and unleash your creativity. And now here's your host, outdoor enthusiast, and renowned author of The 7 Principles of the Magic Rock, Emanuel Rose.
Welcome to this special edition of Nature Bound with Emanuel Rose. Today, I'm going to talk a little bit about a project that has been in the works for the last year, and it's a photo essay type book called One Man, One Dog, and it is available currently on Amazon as well as EmanuelRose.com. And this project came out of a conversation that I had with Kelley Hamby, who's the guest today, and it was a way to make some of the work some of the trips that I do into an aspirational activity, and so I invited Kelley out to do some photographic work, and then we produced this book, One Man, One Dog, and I'm pleased to introduce Kelley. He's a seasoned photographer with a unique lens on the world, literally and figuratively. Raised on the Texas Gulf Coast and now calling Oregon home for the past 3 decades. Hard to believe he doesn't look a day over 30 right now. Kelley specializes in capturing the spirit of hardworking individuals and their passion. From fly fishing adventures to the rugged lifestyle of cowboys, his work tells compelling stories through visuals. Kelley's photography transcends mere images. It invites us into the journeys of those he documents. And for more insights into his work, he's got a website and a bunch of other stuff, but we'll let him tell you about that. Kelley, thank you so much for taking some time to be on Nature Bound.
How are you, Emanuel?
I'm doing really good. I'm in week 5 of a 9-week sojourn.
Man, envious as always.
Yeah, and so this project came about because you really had you challenged me to make some work that was aspirational, and I had to go and look up what that meant. And
I sincerely doubt that, but okay.
Once I got done figuring out what it meant, we had another conversation, and then I then flipped the challenge to you and said, "Help me make it aspirational." And so, yeah, tell me a little bit about what it was like from your perspective in terms of working on One Man, One Dog.
Well, as you might recall, so it was probably almost a year ago today that we kind of dove into that, and I had just come off from a couple of hip surgeries, and I tell you what, as an occasional hunter, I was certainly not prepared for how much work you put in chasing these birds. So physically, it was a challenge, but for me at that time, maybe a little bit better now, thank goodness. What I will tell you, I really loved about it, and I love about many of these things in the outdoors is, even if it's not a passion that I'm 100% into myself, man, I love being around people who are just digging what they're doing. And that certainly was true of you and your dog on that trip. And of course, I've known you and it's got to be going on 20 years now. So I know that you're, really avid about all things outdoor, but it's really exceptionally fun to see you working with your dogs. And so that was the thing that was fascinating to me.
Yeah, well, that was cool. It was fun to spend that time together, and I think what triggers me the most about the work that you do is that I can take those same pictures and from my my phone, and I know that's funny to a professional photographer, right? Like that, I think that I can take a photograph of my phone and have it be even similar to what you're doing. But talk a little bit about what your creative process is, from how you see things and shoot the picture and then process, and help us understand what that looks like for you.
Sure. I'll maybe offer you a foil to your phone thing is that phones are great. And man, I really do encourage everybody out there, photographer or not, to take a lot of pictures. I personally get an immense amount of joy looking over photos from the past to remind me about stuff. So even if you're not a photographer, by all means, take your photos. They'll bring them back. But I think for my style, what I like to do is sort of distill the essence of what's going on. At least that's what I hope I'm doing. Um, and sort of just focus on a few of the key elements that resonate with me and I hope with everyone that sees the photos. So, um, compared to people just taking pictures on their phone, it's oftentimes they're super far or super wide angle, and it's maybe not distilling the thing that is the essence of your activity.
Mm.
So I like to get in close on these things. I like to pare it down to, in this case, with one man, one dog, you and your dog in a little bit of the landscape, or if the landscape is the main subject, man, taking some time to really capture what our heart sees out there rather than maybe just what our eyes see. And so I would say my advice to people who are just using their phone, which are great, by the way, um, kind of get up close, see what's going on, and try to, certainly there's some wide angle shots that are great, but I would encourage you to get closer than you feel is comfortable sometimes. So I like to try to get, winnow it down, cut some of the busyness out of the photo and really try to get just the things that are important.
And then you obviously are going to take a lot more photos than get used in a project, right?
For sure. I mean, I probably took, I don't know, 500 or so while we were out there. That's pretty common for a day of shooting. Some of it's technical stuff, when you're out there hunting birds, the pin, it's very fast moving. So if you're facing one way, you may turn and the light changes, and you have got to be really constantly making those adjustments. So you might not make them quick enough. So better keep that shutter moving.
And then, what about once I chose the images that I like? Well, I guess, how did you distill down 500 into some that I could look at, and then what happened after I said I like this?
Yeah. Let's say you have 500 or 1,000 images. You're not going to edit every one of those. So my basic process will be I'm going to run through there quickly and call any that are technically not great, So if they're blurry in a way that doesn't lend itself to telling a story, if it's too dark, too light, which happens, then you can quickly run those out. And let's say you knock, I don't know, 20% of them out just on bad mechanics. Um, and then I'm going to see, like, one of the great things with higher end cameras is that they capture enough data while they're shooting that you can zoom in on stuff where, like on the phone, if you're trying to do that, you're going to lose some quality. And so I'm going to go through there and make a rough edit and maybe knock this thing down to 100 pictures. And then I'm really going to probably walk away from it for a while. And then I'm going to pick,
Hmm.
I probably sent you, I don't know, 50 or 60 images out of those. And then once we get down to the real nuts and bolts, like maybe the last 30 images, I'm going to spend some time uh, making sure they're color balanced, that they're not too blue from shadows or whatnot. And then I'm going to crop in where necessary and tell the story. Um, One of the things that I tend to do, coming as a film photographer, where that stuff was maybe a little less available to you, is I frame it up exactly as I want it printed in the camera as much as I'm able. So I try not to do a ton of cropping, but it's available to you. So then I'm going to do the final edits, and most of the stuff that we shot really didn't take a lot of zhuzhing around. So, and then I'm looking for something that's authentic to what's going on, which captures the feeling. It might be pictures of your equipment, it might be downtime of your dog. It doesn't have to be the hunting. I mean, I think there's a broad story to be told about many of these things, right? Like all fishing is not fish pictures. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, just this cover image, like, just talk me through what you're thinking when you actually snap a picture of that, capture that.
Well, in this picture, right, you and Tex were out there trying to hunt dogs up, and it's clear that he's looking to you for some instruction. And I think that though I don't see your face, I definitely see his face, and it is clear that there is some connection between you two there, and he is part of your team, right? So he's looking to his master for some direction, and I think I think that tells a lot of that story in this particular book about how you and your dog get this business done. I think it hints at the teamwork that you guys get after.
Yeah, I love it. So I think that it's probably what comes through in your photography that is one of the hidden secrets is that your emotional intelligence comes through your photography, which is
No.
hard to imagine how that could happen, but I think that's what really happens.
Well, that's very kind. I think you can apply this stuff if you are an observer of these things to see, like the cowboy stuff. Like I grew up around a little bit of cowboy stuff, but I did a series for a ranch out here of their branding, and I don't know a lot about cowboy stuff, but if you are observant, you will quickly see uh, what they're focused on, and you have some idea kind of no matter what's going on about, everyone's seen cowboy pictures before for sure, but you can really distill it down to the essence of what those folks are worried about or concerned about or really enjoying. And I think that's true of the bird hunting or fishing or really anything. And, I have a passion myself for the outdoors. I spend a lot of time, as much time as I can, not, not nearly as much as you, unfortunately, but so I do think that our shared love of the outdoors helps drive my narrative on it.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you have a deep understanding for the connection to wild things and uncontrolled things, and wanting to tell those stories.
Yeah, and I mean, I really honestly, I maybe came to this. I was a Boy Scout when I was little, so I've been camping, and we grew up right on the water, so we fish. So I've been outdoors my whole life, but I wouldn't really consider myself having become an outdoorsman per se until I was maybe 30. And so, if I have a regret, it's that I didn't dive into that stuff sooner. But it is magic and it's powerful to be outside. And I think, without getting too far off the rails, pretty healing for people to get outside. So, my hope in my work in the outdoors is that it inspires other people to maybe throw a sleeping bag and tent together and go see that stuff for themselves.
Yeah, I agree, and I appreciate that the challenge that you laid out, and that has become my mantra now too, is to try to be as transparent as I can and invitational about the process to people, um, and I think that the images that you shot help to tell an engaging story as much as any narrative that I was able to put together.
Well, I will tell you, I admire you so much for purposely structuring your life to where you can take 9 weeks off on these things. I mean, that's not accidental. I aspire to, I mean, speaking of aspirational, I'm trying to get out as much as I can, in large part thanks to your example for doing that, because it never even occurred to me that it's possible. But I think and not too many people are going to be able to get out there for 9 weeks at a time, but you could maybe whip a long weekend out of it, and I think still get a significant benefit from being outside.
Yeah, it is well, being outside, I think, is the critical thing, especially in the time that we're in, where electronics have really taken over our brains. It is healing in that respect, and it's healing psychologically to be in touch with the cycles and seasons of nature. For instance, the full moon that's out right now for your birthday is magical, and to see that is a power of consistency in our lives that we don't have in other areas necessarily.
Yeah, that's entirely true.
So, in terms of one man, one dog, I guess, are you in a space? For me, it's like when I create these projects, and I think I'm up to 22 books now. It doesn't feel complete to me until I have like a physical book in my hand.
Oh,
What's it like for you in that?
well, I think like so when I shoot on my cameras, right, just like if you have your iPhone, you have some instant feedback. And from my perspective, I'm always worried that I'm not getting anything in that instant feedback compared to what film was, that is maybe part of our electronic culture that's a benefit from a photographer is like if you're not getting something you can see. And so, for example, when we're out shooting the book, like I said, it's fast paced and you are a motor, I'll tell you that much. So, and I think at some point, I'm going to stop every few minutes and kind of quickly scroll through the back of my camera to make sure that I'm getting something. And so I think from a fishing analogy, right? Like it's like seeing fish rising. Like I'm looking in there, I'm like, okay, I'm getting some good stuff. And then, but you don't know, or I don't know until I get back home, throw that stuff up on the big screen to find out if I've got some great stuff. So it's exciting for me when I'm kind of like, all right, something can be made out of this stuff. And then when you get back, and you're like, oh man, this is, it doesn't happen every time, but when it's great, it's really great to get to see that stuff on the screen. And then I, I'm excited that I'm gonna be able to show you that stuff. So that's part of it. But then there is a sort of finality when it gets to a printed project. Like you're like, all right, man, it really did come together because trust me, I've got thousands of photos that I enjoy having taken, I enjoy look at, but they have no home right there. You can't see my office, but I probably got 100 4x6s taped to my walls of different different trips we've been on, different just this and that are just for myself. Like one of my favorite pictures, I know I've got it, I'm looking at it right now, is you and our good mutual friend Jim Clark on I'm guessing, God, that must have been the Umpqua, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it
It was the
is,
Metolius, I think.
at any rate, actually, you're right, Emmanuel, it was the Metolius. It was the little, a feeder stream, perhaps. I don't even remember what state it's in. Anyway, it's beautiful and it reminds me of not only the outdoors, which I really value, but perhaps our shared friendships, which I value even more. So, though it has no home, I got to send you and Jim both a print of that, and so that sort of brings that thing full circle for me when you get to share, your art and your craft.
Yeah, and I think that's where you and I are similar in terms of we're creative and we have these inspirations to for you to shoot, for me to write, and then get to a finality, get it out in the world, and then move on to whatever the next project is, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny, it's a little bit nostalgic, right? Like you'll get this book and some years later, I assume you'll look at it on your shelf for a moment and it'll take you right back to all those great times. And so I am certainly nostalgic, and that may be why I'm drawn to photography so much, is that it's sort of an evergreen type of art. So, and I enjoy looking at other people's photos from eras gone by. So I could look at
Yeah,
photographs all day long. So I'll look at text. What a handsome
yeah.
boy.
No, I mean this is what I mean. The texture and the depth of emotion. Even when I look at my own picture, like I can look through it as me, and I look through at that man. I was like, wow, that tells so much
Um,
about that situation, right?
It is true, and I'm going to jump back in a little bit. I had done some of the cowboy photos, and one of the very young cowboys, I wound up giving some photos to these guys after the fact, and one of the moms called me up, and she had a son who's probably 22, and he's pretty young to the thing, and he had a whole life story about his dad passing away, and she's like, when he saw that, she's sort of crying and telling the story, like when he saw that picture of himself, it helped solidify his own self-image of himself as a cowboy. And I think that's a gift that photography can give people. And um, I think it's great too, because, when we're out doing these things, we are probably mostly internal, right? We're not picturing ourselves out in the woods. We're just sort of focused on, and I think it is fun to see ourselves how others might see us a little bit, um, to help solidify what we are in the world, I guess.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting. So a psychological proprioception, right, of recognizing where we are in this space of time. Love
I'm gonna have to look that up maybe later myself. But yeah, I mean, I do think it's interesting because we all have these aspirational ideas, like, we might envision ourselves in a Sims catalog or a coffee table book doing our fishing, but most of us will never get that opportunity. But I think it's a great gift to be able to give someone a glimpse into that and how you might see them as a friend or an outdoorsman or whatever. And so that's part of the joy I get out of photography.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to take some time to help create this project, and I really do. I like the view that you created of me and of Texas and the experience, and I hope that we trigger some people either who have a latent desire to learn how to handle dogs and go bird hunting, or they've done it in the past and they need to get back into it, or they need to take their kids out and spend time.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you what, we haven't talked about this, but it is so rewarding just to be out there and watch you guys do your stuff. And it's a great blessing to be able to be invited out there uh, to document that stuff. And I think that's accessible to anyone that gets outdoors, right? Like it's something that will definitely help. It certainly helps me. I just like being out there, and it's so much the better when it's out there, seeing people who are accomplished or working to be accomplished and just see the passion, right? Because we don't get a lot of that in our daily life unless we really strive to find it, it seems like. So, uh, thanks for having me out there.
Yeah, well, it was good stuff. It's good work. I hope that we're able to do a second edition with some additional photos this year.
Uh, I
If
hope so
if
too,
not, we'll get it on the calendar for next year.
for sure.
Um, we know Kelley Hamby has got a website. What's your Instagram handle?
It is Kelley Hamby Photo, and I do fair amount of outdoor stuff. I also have some work of kind of blue collar guys that are out there just grind, making the wheels turn, and it's very similar. Like it's I like to show these guys how they are in the world. So take a look, website kellyhambyphoto.com. It's got some great pics on there as well, I believe.
Indeed, it does. Well, I really appreciate your contribution to the one man, one dog, and appreciate you taking some time to have a conversation about it today.
Well, I'm really excited to get it in my hot little hands, and I hope it does really well for you, ER. I'm sure it's fantastic.
All right, buddy. Well, I'll let you get on with the rest of your day and get there culling some photos.
All right, man. Continue good luck, Emmanuel.
All right. Thanks, Kelly. Well, one man, one dog. It's an interesting project, both because it has a touch of the outdoors integrated into it, but also that it demonstrates the creative process, both on a visual way and on a prose way. And both Kelly and I hope that you get a copy and that you're inspired to take some time to get away from the screens, get outside with your friends and your family, and feel the dirt under your feet.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Nature Bound. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. If you found value in today's episode, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Be sure to purchase your copy of The 7 Principles of the Magic Rock at emanuelrose.com or on Amazon. We thank you again for joining us today, and remember to get nature bound.